Hey, what up, Houston HAX fans? It's Regal here, and we are starting season 6. To start every season, you got to do a draft. So I'm just going to do my draft reaction video and release of who I got, in what order, and how I expect to use the team, how I expect the team to work, and I'm excited to get into it. I'm pretty pumped for this season, and hopefully the Houston HAX can finish a little bit better than 4th place. We're pretty good at reaching top 4, but I'd like to get that first place finish this year. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So let's block off the screen so we don't release every single one of our mons. Here we go. So the first mon, my first pick, I was the 7th pick overall in the draft. I got Terrakion. This guy is an absolute beast. Obviously, it's a tier 200, so it cost me a lot. But at the 7th pick, I was really happy for this thing to fall down to me as rock and fighting, assuming that the rock moves hit, destroys everybody. There's very, very few mons that can be a switch to Terrakion, especially a reliable one. But basically he just goes in with 129 attack and 108 speed and blasts away at teams. Very good speed tier, which I really liked, and just being able to break teams. Just throw a choice band on this baby, and he's going to be blowing people up. I gave him the nickname Bane just because I felt like we're going with a theme of villains this year, and Bane is kind of a badass and just beats people down. So Bane's going to be our main breaker, pivotal point of our team. To pair with Bane, I really wanted to go for the fighting psychic dark offensive core, and so the next pick that I made was Hatterene. Okay, and so Hatterene, pretty fun pick. I also kind of wanted to try Trick Room just a little bit, or have the option at least. As Hatterene, it's just one piece on your team. You don't really need a ton of other slow mons around it, but with 136 special attack, it blows through teams. And it also doubles as far as checking boxes as magic bounce user, which just makes people not want to set up rocks or spikes or whatever. As well as my fairy type, and being a pretty decent one at that. Obviously, the HP stat isn't very good, but that allows Draining Kiss to actually heal a lot of the overall health of Hatterene, because its defensive stats, 95 and 103 sped def. It's good. It's really good. This mon, if you invest defenses into it, and most of the time you're going to be max HP anyways, teams have a really hard time killing it in one shot. So just being something that I can switch in and try to prevent rocks, and then immediately go on an offensive run with Trick Room or set up some Calm Minds. This mon is a huge threat, and I'm super excited to use it in the league. And so this brings us to my 3rd pick. Okay, Hatterene's going to be, the nickname is going to be Harley Quinn. Because of kind of the pink and blue and the colors involved. And then also because my 3rd pick, the nickname is going to be Joker. And so revealing my 3rd pick is Obstagoon. I was so excited to get this mon. I didn't think it would fall into the 3rd round. And so I felt really, really lucky to get this mon. Just an offensive threat. Also paired really well, with Hatterene, because Hatterene is weak to Ghost. And so having something that can switch into Ghost type moves with Obstagoon, and then start throwing off offensive moves of its own is awesome. Plus the speed tier fits pretty well with Terrakion. Speed tier wise, I kind of want to make sure I'm not all bunched up with my speed tiers. I've had that issue in the past, and it just makes it really easy for teams to either go max HP or not run a lot of speed, and just really take advantage of the EVs. against your team. So we got decent speed tiers so far here at 95, and then also Obstagoon just being a mad threat. It only has 90 base attack, but with its abilities, Reckless being probably the least useful. But Guts basically giving it a free choice band with the option to choose your moves is huge. Obviously, it still has bulk up, and it has the ability to really just be quite an offensive threat. Dark plus normal coverage is super, super powerful. There's not a lot of things that can switch into that, and just knocking off items is always, always nice. So I expect running Guts quite a bit, but having a Defiant user is really nice too, especially now that a ton of Mons get defog back. So being able to make them pay by going to +2 with this Mon, or being able to use it against webs and get to +2 is pretty nice. Again, for opposing webs. This was actually not my 4th pick, but this was my 3rd pick. All right, or my 5th pick, I believe. Yep, my 5th pick was Duraludon. It was just hanging around. Gave me typing wise, it finished off my Dragon Steel Fairy Core. Not that Duraludon is really any good at special defense, but with decent defense, I can kind of play around, and it can be a switch into many things, but also having the ability to reach 85 speeds, good speed between Obstagoon and Terrakion, and then having something that it's just got a lot of options with Body Press, Draco Meteor, maybe with a Jetpack to switch around. Just a good offensive special Mon. Again, you can see our stats are pretty big here. 129, 136. This is usually 1.5 boosted. This is like a free choice band with Guts. Or now we have 120 special attack. Okay, so we got Mons that can hit really hard. We're not necessarily super fast, but for this setup, 85 speed's actually pretty fast, especially 95. I think I would consider quick, and then 108 is like a really good speed tier. So those were, again, Duraludon was my 4th pick, and another reason I picked Duraludon is because my 4th pick was Araquanid. So I was able to pick up one of the premier web setters in the league, in the format, and so also a water absorb Mon for the Dracovish, that is inevitably going to be running around in the league as well. And so just being a solid Pokemon, have ground resist as well, being able to hit pretty hard with Water Bubble, especially Choice Band. Araquanid hits really hard with Liquidation. Decent special switch in, but for most of all, just putting up webs. I mean, just looking at my team, every single one of these Mons benefits from webs, probably with the exception of Hatterene. But even so, there's quite a few slow Mons, and I might be able to do something kind of cool with Hatterene under webs as well, so I don't have to be relying on Trick Room. But regardless, Hatterene's all about being slow, and 29's pretty slow, so I should still be slower than most Mons, even after webs, if I wanted to use the Trick Room along with the webs. And so Araquanid, just a great add onto the team, as it can be offensive, defensive, set up webs for my team, and then everyone else can take advantage of those webs, as 85 and 95 speed under webs all of a sudden become the fastest Mons. Next, I was really excited about this Mon as well, Decidueye. I did not have any hazard removal outside of just using Magic Bounce. So adding Decidueye to the squad allows me to A, attack on the physical side or the special side, but B, 70 speed under webs is actually pretty good. So now we have, the problem of Decidueye is it's not that fast, but then it also checks a lot of boxes, as it gives me a U-turner, it gives me a defogger. Ghost is a really good offensive typing. It gives me priority, Sucker Punch, and Shadow Sneak. I can set up with SD. I'm not sure if it gets Nasty Plot, but this Mon will allow me to break some ground types as well. So with Araquanid and Decidueye getting rid of those ground types, obviously I do have Terrakion, Obstagoon, and Duraludon that all do a ton of damage. But being able to break ground types for my next mon, and this is where I was deciding, and I got a little criticism, just for fun. Cooper said, "Oh, Regal only likes to pick electric types that get walled by ground types." Well, yeah. It basically came down to I needed a speed tier that I wanted like 115 or higher. And so Bolton and Jolteon were kind of the two electric types that I had an option to get. And so I didn't really want to draft Jolteon because I had it last year. And Bolton, I felt like gave me some opportunity a little bit, obviously being a physical attacker most of the time. Competitive allows me to be a special attacker as well, but mainly for the speed tier. And then I figured in combination of Decidueye, Araquanid, and the rest of my team just being able to break, I should be able to remove or weaken a lot of the ground types. Like Jolteon last year for me went 9-2, and I only brought it like 4 times just because it was faster than everything else and could clean games. I feel like with Bolton, I can get ground types into 2-hit KO range, and then hit them with either crunches or whatever Fang move is going to give me the most power. Psychic Fangs, Crunch, Fire Fang, all those different ones. So I'm excited to use Bolton. I think it's going to be a really good cleaner for me. I think in combination of Decidueye and Bolton, I actually think they're going to wind up getting quite a few kills this year. Obviously, Terrakion, I kind of expect to be my kill leader, but I think especially Decidueye, I think is one of the most underrated mons on my team, with its ability to attack physically, especially set up priority. I'm just really excited to use that mon. And then Bolton, obviously, as a good cleaner, it's not gonna be able to take any hits, but I don't need it to. And then hopefully Volt switch around after those ground types are heavily weakened. Next we got Garbodor. Garbodor is just overall a good mon, giving you a grounded poison type. As you can see, almost my entire team is grounded so far. Or the entire team is grounded so far. And so that makes things difficult because Earthquake is obviously a problem for me. And also, if your entire team's grounded, Toxic Spikes just make the most sense ever to bring against you. And so having Garbodor is just going to allow me to absorb those Toxic Spikes, be a nice little defensive switch in, and then allow me to set up spikes and T-spikes of my own. And so having that option is super, super nice to be able to wear down teams so that the rest of my offensive threats, which is pretty much my entire team, can go on and do a lot of damage. Garbodor, I think, is just a good little Gloomon. I don't expect it to come a ton, but just having it on my roster makes opponents need to think about, okay, can I actually, is T-Spikes make sense to bring here? Is Garbodor good against my team? And just kind of helps in the team preview or the matchup. So then the last two picks, I guess we can do them both at the same time. We got Claydol, and then we got Torracat. Claydol, okay, I've been pretty adamant about being tired of using Claydol, okay? But unfortunately and fortunately, I think Claydol is a better on paper mon, but you still have all these different things that it can do. I did not have a ground immunity, so I needed the Levitate, okay? I didn't have a ground type, so I wanted the ground type, so I wasn't weak to electric moves, okay? I wanted something that could rotate around, okay, or U-turn volt switching type mon, and Claydol gets teleport, okay. I wanted some more removal since I only have defog from Decidueye, so I got rapid spin, okay. Another rocker, so Terrakion doesn't need to set up rocks all the time. I mean, Duraludon can do that too. Both of them want to be offensive, so Claydol just does all the dirty work for the team. If I had if I was doing basketball names or sports names, he'd probably be like the Dennis Rodman, just getting those rebounds and playing defense, just supporting the team in any way that he can. And then I'm kind of excited for this Torracat. I don't expect it to come a lot, but this was my last pick in the draft. But I was just super surprised at 90 speeds at the 90 speed stat, in combination with Intimidate and Parting Shot plus U-Turn, just kind of allows this mon to come in, weaken offensive threats that I'm going against, and then get out. And so with Intimidate plus Parting Shot, basically being a reflect or being a reflect that I set up well. That's just super nice, especially when I have so many threats. So using Teleport Claydol, using U-Turn, Parting Shot Torracat to set up my other sweepers. And by sweepers, I mean mainly breakers. I don't really have a ton of sweepers. I guess I can bulk up with Obstagoon. I can SD with Terrakion. I can SD with Decidueye and Shadow Sneak people. But basically, the way the team is going to wind up working, I believe, is I'm going to set up webs against teams that are weak against webs. And then I'm going to get in my threats and start breaking teams. Because Obstagoon really doesn't have any switch-ins, neither does Terrakion. And then try to set up for either a late-game Hatterene sweep or try to get that Shadow Sneak or Bolton to clean my games at the end. Obviously, we'll see what happens. I think my team has a lot of different options. I think it's pretty solid overall. Usually it takes me a few weeks to get used to my team and understand exactly what I need to be doing to be successful. But overall, my first takeaway from the team is I'm pretty happy with the draft. Felt like I got really lucky to land, especially these top 3 threats here, and get a premier web setter. I think that's going to help me a ton. And we're just going to find out here at the end what exactly works for us, whether it be Torracat or and Garodor, and maybe I could see either of these 2 mons getting switched around by the middle of the year. I know there's a couple other fire types that I knew made sense for me, but I just couldn't pull the trigger on. Scorch was one of them that I kind of wanted to get on the squad, as it wasn't very fast, but under webs could actually do a lot of damage. So we'll see how these mons do, and hopefully the Houston HAX can get back into the championship contention and have a really good season. So you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.